maybe find a husband or a wife and want to live here for the time in Norfolk. So there are some good things being done. We have done some good things. It's not all negative right now. Like I said, there's been parks have been updated, are getting updated. We've got a lot of good things going on.
Thank you. Going to throw in another audience question here, and we'll start with Mr. Clausen this time around. What are your thoughts on the city's economic development department?
Well, when I started out, I talked about having $500 million in commercial and industrial investment going on in Norfolk right now. The economic department has been very important in bringing and attracting companies to our community. Without their department, we would be in trouble. It wasn't that long ago. There was no economic development in Norfolk, or especially on the city side of things. It was ran separately, and the communication wasn't that great. We had different types of economic development people over here and over there, and there was no collaboration. Now it's all brought under house, and it's working out better. And they've been doing a terrific job. We've got a lot of things that we can be happy about and proud about with economic development. Our job of talking and helping people find locations to put their stuff. We just had the Bradford Business Park open out there. That was primarily pushed by our economic development department. That's a tremendous business park out there and provides people great opportunities to find decently priced land to locate on. Another part they've been talking into, they've been working in housing and trying to get people promoted into building more housing there so we can attract people. So economic development is probably one of the single biggest things we can do, because the biggest part of our budget is based off sales tax. And sales tax only, to get your sales tax, you have to focus on that tax base, and that tax base is business. And business, to go out and recruit business, that you're going to be doing that through economic development. So.
Thank you, Mr. Clausen. Mr. McKenzie, what are your thoughts on the city's economic development department?
I think we need to refocus our economic development efforts on bringing quality, well-paying jobs to Norfolk. I did some research on some numbers, and it was kind of enlightening. Between the years 2000 and 2010, Norfolk grew 3%. Population grew 3%. Between 2010 and 2020, it grew 3.1%. Columbus, during that same period of time, 2000 to 2010, grew 5.4%. From 2010 to 2020, it grew 8.9%. Columbus is outgrowing us at a very rapid rate, more than 2 to 1. When you look at our rapid growth in the city of Norfolk, between 1960 and 1970, we grew 26%. Between 1970 and 1980, we grew 17%. So what happened during that time? Volcraft started in '64, Sherwood started in 1961, Nucor Steel started in 1973, the Volcraft Deck Plant in 1977, Nucor Cold Finish 1979, Goodyear 1979, Northeast Community College started their new facility in 1973, their new campus. All of those things contributed to significant population growth in Norfolk, and that was due to well-paying jobs coming to Norfolk. We've got to refocus our effort. We can't just build up more restaurants and more bars and say we've done a good job. We have to really focus on bringing new, quality, high-paying industrial jobs. One other note that I'll mention, Columbus, again, their median household income is $65,341, almost $8,000 higher than Norfolk. Why is that? I'm not sure. But another statistic from the census was people employed in manufacturing in Columbus is 31%, and Norfolk at 17%. Are industrial jobs important? Will they help grow the community? I think so. I think we need to refocus.
All right, thank you. Another audience question, and we'll time around. Would you as mayor lead the city council or take your direction from the citizens through their council members?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Would you as mayor lead the city council or take your direction from the citizens through their council members?
I would take directions from citizens however they come to me, whether that comes through council members or comes to me directly. Ultimately, I'm responsible for citizens. I'm a public servant, and I will abide by what they say. I will share that information with council people. I'm not going to be again, we have a weak mayor form of government. Shane talked about the mayor creating the agenda. Well, the city council has an opportunity to put items on the agenda all the time. It's up to them to choose to do so. So I will take my direction directly from the citizens. I'll work with the council, and we will agree to disagree. It's okay for us to have disagreements. It's okay for us to have spirited disagreement. That's all good. That discussion is good. It helps us understand one another, and it helps us build consensus.
All right, thank you. Mr. Clausen, would you as mayor lead the city council or take your direction from the citizens through their council members?
Well, as elected mayor, you are a leader and you are giving out direction. But also, Lee, when I talked about earlier, balance of power between the mayor and city council, you're definitely going to want to take direction from your city council members. They're in their wards. They're getting people talking to them. They know what's going on in their area, and they're going to be explained to you. And so you have to listen to what people have to say, and you have to have great communication. I would like to build more unity within our city. I would like the city to be able to work with our city councilmen and create a balance of power so we can work together. Right now, it becomes a very mayor-driven agenda, and we're pushing things from the mayor's side of things and not the council. If we can change that, the council then can share more ideas and more problems they're having or what they're hearing from their constituents and share them with me. And then we can work moving forward to create solutions.
Thank you. Back to our media panel, and this time we'll be directed to Mr. Clausen.
We talked earlier about retaining and recruiting young people, but how big of a priority is it for you to address the current conditions of the Norfolk Senior Center? How would you believe potential improvements should be funded?
So I've been working with the senior center directly. I went and met with them the other day just to talk to them about what's going on and how their budget and what their problems are. We had a good conversation about 2 years ago. They came in and they're in financial problem. They're having a big financial problem right now. And we decided we would do 50,000, and then we did an additional 50,000 this year. The problem right now they're having is it's not really covering what they need to do. And so I've met with department heads about taking a tour of the senior and then trying to come up with a plan moving forward. And I don't know how that partnership looks, but there potentially could be a partnership between the city of Norfolk and the senior center to help them balance out their funds and keep operating. Because I can't, not the top of my head, but I thought they were saying they deliver like 150 Meals on Wheels. So it's extremely important to our older citizens that senior center doesn't go under. But I'm aware of it, and I've been there, and I've been trying to work with them directly. And so if I'm elected mayor, I'll continue to do that because I think it's an important part of our community, and we'll continue to find a way for them to, stay afloat.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie.
The senior center is it's a critical part of our community. The seniors of our community are a critical part of our community. They're the ones who help build the community. We need to take care of the senior center. We need to find ways to continue to support that. I know some other communities actually have that as a division under their city government. We need to look for grants wherever they're possible. We need to find ways to grow the senior center. Their programs are critically important. The Meals on Wheels, their exercise programs, all the things that they do. We need to work creatively with them to address the issues and help that facility be a shining star in Norfolk.
All right. Mr. Clausen, any further thoughts?
Not really. We both, I think, it is going to be important moving forward. I know they are in financial distress, and I went out for it was a meeting they had there. They got a dinner out there, and it was packed. So it's how many people utilize it in our community. It's just an important aspect for our community to keep moving forward. So we need to continue to work.
Thank you. Next question comes from our media panel, Paul Hughes of WG, and it is directed to first to Mr. McKenzie.
There are a number of factors that play into the Norfolk Police Division having an officer shortage, something that's impacted agencies nationwide. What steps can be taken to help ensure that the Norfolk Police Force is fully staffed, or at least near that mark?
we need to really understand why we're short-staffed. We need to talk to the officers. What's going on? Why are some of them leaving? We need to understand in detail where we're at with that. We need to help our officers. The police station is an important component of that. We've had a officer retention bonus that just passed the city council. We've got some other programs, an officer bonus when you become on the agency. We just need to look at what other cities are doing, continue to grow that process, and try and recruit great officers to Norfolk. It's a critical element of our city.
Mr. Clausen?
Yeah, definitely. Well, obviously, we've got an unfortunate incident happening right now at our police department, and it's unfortunate and it's affecting a lot of people. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. The good will prevail on this situation, and I think everything will be fine. We did do the officer retention bonus, or not retention bonus, but it's more of like a years of service bonus, and that was one thing. But I think you just have to have the right climate within that particular police department. It's a tough business to be in now. You know, police officers are kind of getting beat up by people, by the media, and just all over the nation. So it's just harder and harder to recruit police officers. But we'll need to work on an aggressive effort for recruitment. Find out what needs these officers need and want, and then I know that we're not on the top of the list when it comes to pay for police officers. That might be something we need to look at, of what the pay is actually at and where we need to set it to be maybe more competitive with some of your bigger communities. But yeah, we need to keep moving forward on police recruitment.
Mr. McKenzie, any further thoughts?
Nothing further.
Shane? All right. Let us now move to another point in our forum. A slight deviation. We continue with questions from our media panelists, but they will be asking a specific question directed toward just one candidate. And again, 2 minutes to respond, gentlemen, to these questions. And our first question will come from Jay Priner and is directed toward Mr. Clausen. I'm sorry, Mr. McKenzie.
Jim, you have been open about your belief that the city does not spend responsibly and in your opposition to tax increment financing. How would you specifically attract new businesses, create new jobs, and fund development projects without the use of TIF?
We need to look at, as a whole, what kind of industries do we want to bring to town? Do we want to bring industries that utilize Nucor's products and then add value to them and further refine them to additional products? Do we want to attract medical industry? For instance, a Becton Dickinson, it's a recession-resistant industry. Do we want to attract tech industry? We need to make a list of all those different types of industries we want to attract, and then we need to actually make a list of businesses in those industries and go out and recruit them. I don't know that we've done that since the 60s and 70s. We need to have a plan to actually call on those CEOs, offer what we have in Norfolk. We've got a great quality of life. We've got very successful businesses that have come here. We can use the success as an example. Nucor Steel's success in Norfolk, Goodyear, Vance's success in Norfolk. We've got some great stories to tell, and we need to go out and tell those stories, actively tell those stories, to try and recruit new businesses to town. We can't be passive. We really have to actively do that and have a plan to do that and make those calls to really bring those businesses to Norfolk. And we may miss every shot we take, but if we don't take a shot, we're going to miss them all anyway. So we might as well take a couple shots. All we got to do is hit one or two of them to make a big difference in Norfolk.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Paul Hughes of WJG and is directed toward Mr. Clausen.
The River Point District has developed immensely over the last 10 years. Projects of that magnitude require a lot of foresight and vision. How would a Shane Clausen administration take the baton and carry it into the future?
Well, like I stated earlier, when you're talking about parks and downtown development, I'm assuming that's kind of where you're going with this, right? Yeah, so, but it's going to be through partnerships, grants, and donation, because we can't really afford to use property tax to fund those situations. So, but we can do it. We just showed everybody we can do it at Johnson Park. We can, so I would move forward with how we develop Johnson Park. I would do very similar things moving forward for, downtown businesses but let's just go back and talk about Johnson Park. That was financed primarily through grants and partnership. Over 60% of it was. And the rest of it was funded through Keno dollars. And after that, it was funded through a gasoline tax. So it was not funded out of property. But that, in my eyes, is the model to move forward in doing those sort of projects.
All right, thank you. Okay, our third question now comes from Jay Priner again with the Daily News and directed toward Mr. Clausen, I believe. Okay, Mr. McKenzie.
Jim, if elected mayor, do you plan on making any sweeping changes in personnel? And how do you believe you would work with the existing?
I don't have any immediate plans to make changes to personnel. Obviously, I'm one person. The entire council has to weigh in on any of those decisions anyway. We will try and have a different direction. Like I mentioned about economic development, I think that needs to go a different direction with trying to bring new jobs. There will be expectations set that people will be present for meetings and that people will be accountable for their time. I don't have any sweeping changes planned other than to set some expectations and have people follow those.
Thank you. And our final question of this type comes from Paul Hughes of WJG and directed toward Mr. Clausen.
During the April candidate forum, you expressed that in your opinion, the city budgeting process was layered and difficult to understand, and you said you believe that was by design. Having served on the city council as long as you have, why did it take you that long to express concerns of the budgeting process?
I've always been expressing concerns on the budget. I've been doing it since I got on the city council. I believe that any department head would know that about me. When I first got on council, that was my first thing to look at. And I educated myself. I learned the budget. And by doing so, it appeared to me that it was extremely complicated, hard to go through, and hard to understand. And as I watched new councilmen get on and new council people get on the council, the same thing happens. It's almost like 2 years into their term before they understand exactly what's going on with the budget. So that's when I started expressing to change things. But I just didn't have the backing behind me or the willingness for people to want to listen to me. I just didn't. But as soon as I started expressing myself about it, when I started running for mayor and got it out in the public, got it in the newspaper, and the staff started realizing that, oh, he's talking about this when he's out and about. It changed. They changed it this year. They fundamentally changed how we've set the budget up. We went from a level 1 or a 4-level type budget to a single level budget. The process went quicker, and by doing so, we were able to drop the mill levy %. That's a good thing for the community, and I think we can do some more things moving forward. I've said it a few times now, but I do want to go to that zero-based budget and then have the actual carryover and see what we can do. I think we could have a tremendous opportunity to lower taxes even more, or lower our property tax ask.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clausen. All right, folks, at this point, our time is drawing short, and we'd like to move to closing remarks by both candidates. They each have 1 minute, and we begin with Mr. Clausen.
Sure. As I stated in the opening, and I mentioned this at the beginning of this forum, I believe Norfolk is unlike any other community. Norfolk is a community that is growing and strong. We were awarded Community of the Year. 1,100 new housing units were built since 2016. Like I said earlier, we have $500 million in being invested in industrial and commercial investments. Norfolk has created tourism opportunities. We can't look past that. I believe we're doing some things right. I know there's some things we can work on, but we're working on them. We're working on the budget. The mayor is a steward of your community. They will serve as an ambassador representing your community when they meet new businesses and citizens. Remember that when you cast your vote. Norfolk needs to elect a mayor that will unite the city council and work effectively with those elected, who will create policies and budgets that will help lessen tax burdens on citizens, who will support large corporations and small business to keep Norfolk open to all business. We need to keep Norfolk open to business. Norfolk needs a mayor who is approachable, positive, and open to ideas. And listen, I'm here to listen. I'm here to unite. I'm here for solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Clausen and Mr. McKenzie.
First of all, I want to thank Shane for the spirited debate. It's good. It's good for the community to understand. It's good overall to have those discussions. I also want to thank everybody for coming tonight, for everybody listening online, taking your time to understand the differences of the candidates. I truly want Norfolk to be a great place to live, raise a family, and retire. It needs to be all of these to be successful. If elected, I'll push hard for greater fiscal responsibility and seek to lower the property tax burden. I will work to see that our budget is closely aligned with our priorities, with the citizens' priorities. I'll strive to make city government more transparent by opening the closed subcommittee meetings to the public and the press and allow more frequent public speaking opportunities. I'll focus on economic development and actively recruiting new businesses, expanding existing businesses, and growing jobs. I'll work to develop a multifaceted plan to address affordable housing and pursue multiple solutions. I will be your public servant with no agendas other than to make Norfolk the best it can be. I will represent you and be your voice. Thank you again, and I appreciate your vote in November.
Thank you, gentlemen. On behalf of the Norfolk Daily News, News Talk WJG, and all of our sponsors, and I want to mention them here again: One Office Solution, Apira, Floor Maintenance Paper Supply, Renegade, Copple Rocky Attorneys, the Norfolk Area Home Builders, Calm Water Financial Group, Allied Tour and Travel, Aero Stage Lines, and maybe most especially to our hosts here who have been absolutely stupendous to work with in allowing us access to the Lifelong Learning Center. I want to say thank you to all of those folks, our audio, visual students back there doing such a great job of pushing video out on our website. So much appreciated. And we'd just like to thank all of those folks and for all of you in the audience for attending, for listening, and for watching. So now we have just a few weeks until General Election Day. And it's really encouraging to know the ballots you cast in the mayoral race will be informed ones, in part due to your attendance here tonight. It's not our job and it's not our purpose here to tell you how to vote, but only to inform you so you can strike an informed vote. So thanks to both of our candidates for their participation in this forum and the insight you provided all of us through your answers. So let's give them a big round of applause for stepping up. Thank you again, and good night.